good morning. Welcome to the Staff Hearing Officer meeting of February 21st, 2024. I'm going to start with preliminary matters, requests for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of ex-agenda items, and I do not have any to announce at this time. So moving on to announcements and appeals, I do want to make an announcement that we received an appeal of 711 Bath Street. This was a denial, a staff hearing officer denial of an interior setback. So we please check back in. That will be scheduled at the Planning Commission shortly. I do have another announcement of staff hearing officer decision on a coastal development permit for 3239 Cliff Drive. This is located in the appealable jurisdiction of the city's coastal zone. The project consists of a 60,751 square foot parcel. It's currently being developed with a 3,620 square foot two-story residence and a 84 square foot garage. Approved by the Planning Commission on July 14th, 2022. The proposed project is a request to construct a 1,200 square foot detached accessory dwelling unit adjacent to the new residence. This project is exempt from further environmental review under sections 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act. And just to clarify that when a proposed development involves the addition of an accessory dwelling unit to an existing single-family residence. It is reviewed by the staff hearing officer, but without a public hearing. So I can receive written correspondence, but there will be no hearing on this item or public comment. So I did not receive any written correspondence for this particular item. I've reviewed the staff report written by Ms. Broadison and can confirm my approval of the coastal development permit for 3239 Cliff Drive with the conditions as outlined in the staff report. So that is my announcement about that, and that is a that's a final decision and cannot be appealed. And then moving on to comments, I'm going to open up public comment on items not on today's agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to speak on items not on today's agenda, now is the time to do so. Ms. Gu, do we have anyone attending via Zoom who wishes to speak?
On examining Zoom, I do not see any raised hands for general public comment.
Okay, and I don't see anyone in the audience moving to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and close general public comment. And we'll move on to our first item, which is 1922 De La Vina and 125 West Mission Streets. This is the project consists of a lot line adjustment between the following two adjoining parcels, 1922 De La Vina Street and 125 West Mission Street. And the project would transfer 0.176 acres of undeveloped land from parcel 2 to parcel 1. Following the adjustment, parcel 1 would be increased to 0.675 acres and parcel 2 would be decreased to 0.244 acres. Let's see. No physical development is proposed as part of this application. However, it would allow for future development of a residential apartment building on the adjusted parcel 1, anticipated as part of a separate application. The discretionary applications under the jurisdiction of the staff hearing officer for this hearing is a lot line adjustment to allow land to be taken from one parcel and added to an adjoining parcel. And then staff has determined that the project is exempt from further environmental review under section 15305, minor alterations and land use limitations of the California Environmental Quality Act. We have Ms. Burkhardt here to present the staff report. So whenever you're ready. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kokinda. I will take us here to the site plan. As you stated, the project is for a lot line adjustment between two adjacent parcels. We have 1922 De La Vina here and 125 West Mission Street here, which includes currently this portion of land that is vacant, undeveloped, and this is the piece that would be transferred from what we're calling parcel 2 over to parcel 1. Currently existing on 1922 De La Vina is there are two single-story, multi-tenant commercial buildings. There's a front patio, there's a detached garage, and this paved parking area, which contains 21 uncovered automobile parking spaces. On what we're calling Parcel 2, which is 125 West Mission Street, there's one single-story, multi-tenant commercial building, a paved parking area with 11 uncovered parking spaces, and then this is the 1.76 acres of undeveloped land. Staff has found the project to be consistent with the general plan in terms of sustainable neighborhood planning. The site is located within the Oak Park neighborhood at the Mission Street and De La Vina Street intersection, which includes retail shopping facilities. The project site is south of Mission Street. Land uses in this area of the neighborhood are predominantly multi-unit residential. There are some commercial and office uses, as well as single unit residential uses as well. Both sites have a general plan land use designation of commercial, medium, high-density residential. And this designation generally applies to neighborhood serving centers located within residential areas of the city. The project itself consists of a straightforward transfer of the undeveloped land by reconfiguring these interior lot lines. It would not physically alter existing property lines, curb cuts, or driveways along De La Vina Street or Mission Street. And there is no change of land use designation proposed for either parcel. And as such, staff believes a sense of place would be preserved because the area of the neighborhood would not physically change. Additionally, the project is intended to facilitate future development of a multi-residential building, which would generally be back here where this piece of land is that would be transferred. In this scenario, the existing commercial structures would remain, and this is a type of development anticipated by the general plan for this land use. It would serve, residents of this future anticipated development would be partially served by existing commercial uses in the neighborhood, which would create a walkable neighborhood and in turn provide opportunity for healthy living while reducing the community's carbon footprint as contemplated by the general plan. Staff also believes the project is consistent with our zoning requirements. Both sites are zoned CG, commercial general. They're both compliant to lot area and street frontage and are non-conforming to parking and have the right to continue. And this would continue to be the case after a lot line adjustment. This line here, these three lines are the lines proposed to be eliminated, and then the new property line would be here. It would be perpendicular to De La Vina Street and parallel with Mission Street. It's in an appropriate location. It's a logical reconfiguration of the sites that would maximize future development of Parcel 1 and would be contiguous with existing zoning boundaries. Also, in terms of the non-residential growth management program, each of the subject parcels are developed with non-residential buildings that have not been altered since 1989. Therefore, they both would be able to retain minor addition and small addition allocations under the non-residential growth management program. They're not proposing any transfer of square footage between properties. And as you noted, staff has determined the project is exempt from CEQA. And staff recommends that you, as staff hearing officer, approve the project, making the findings in Section 8 of the report. I do apologize, the report references conditions of approval. However, in this case, we did not prepare any. Really, all that was required is next steps, which I can send in an email. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation and hand it over to Ms. Allen, the applicant, if she has anything to add.
All right, thank you, Ms. Burkhart. Ms. Allen, would you like to come up and add anything, or you can just swap with Ms. Burkhart or sit right there, and that would be the easiest. And Yeah, this is it's pretty informal despite using microphones.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Good morning. Trish Allen with SEPS. Honestly, Ms. Burkhart covered everything so thoroughly. I don't have anything to add. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. With that, let's open it up for public comment. So if anyone in the audience wishes to speak on 1922 De La Vina and 125 West Mission Streets for the lot line adjustment, now is the time. I don't see anyone moving in the audience to speak, and I didn't receive any written correspondence about this particular item. Ms. Gu, do we have anyone via Zoom who wishes to speak?
I'm looking through Zoom. I do not have any raised hands for this particular item.
Okay, I'll close public comment. And just say that I read the staff report, I went out on site. Have watched a pre-application consultation hearing for probably the future residential project that that's my assumption. This is a very straightforward request. I think I don't really have too many questions. Again, I kind of know that the purpose of this is to set it up for a future residential development, which, as Ms. Burkhart described, is anticipated in the general plan as a potential use, and that being consistent with that. So, understanding that you need to have a more logical parcels to be able to support that future development. I think that it's smart planning. You've got the lot area. It's consistent with the general plan. It meets the street frontages. It's appropriate location of the new lot lines. It's contiguous with the current zoning designation, so I will keep this short, and I can say that I can approve the lot line adjustment with the recommended findings as drafted in the staff report, and can confirm that this project is further exempt from environmental review, and there are no additional conditions of approval as part of that, just to be clear. I'll make that in my statement. But yes, Again, I look forward to seeing the future residential project and wish you well. And I will say that my decision is an appealable action. Anyone can appeal this decision within 10 calendar days. Or any member of the Planning Commission could suspend my decision during that same time period. But yes, I think, again, just walking the site, understanding what the future intention is, and seeing how it conforms with general plan policies, this is can keep it short. Thank you so much. All right, I really appreciate it. All right, I know so much work goes into that. I'm sorry, I could have expanded, but no need, just enjoy. Okay, good luck with the part 2. All right, let's go ahead and move on to 217 South Milpas Street. Let me just get my bearings here. Ms. Gu, do you mind switching back screens? And then, Mr. Russell, I do have the folders on the desktop if you want to pull up the plans. Okay, so this is 217 South Milpas Street. This is a proposal to construct a new 2-story duplex over a new 6-car carport and convert the existing 4-car garage into a 3-bedroom accessory dwelling unit. Conversion of the garage to an accessory dwelling unit will abate the remaining violation of ENF 2016-00756. This project is providing 1 replacement housing unit for the proposed hotel project at 302 West Montecito Street. The discretionary application under the jurisdiction of the staff hearing officer at this hearing is a coastal development permit to allow the proposed development in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the city's coastal zone. And then staff has determined that the project qualifies for an exemption from further environmental review under Section 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures or facilities of the California Environmental Quality Act. So we have Mr. Russell here today to walk me through the project. And Mr. Russell, whenever you're ready. And actually, Ms. Gu, do you mind going back to the plans?
Thank you, Ms. Kokinda. My name is Will Russell. I'm an assistant planner at the City of Santa Barbara. This is a proposal for a new two-story duplex over a six-car carport. This proposal would also convert the existing four-car garage in the rear to a three-bedroom accessory dwelling unit. The project site is located in the coastal zone in a non-appealable jurisdiction, and a coastal development permit would be required for development on this site. The staff hearing officer decision on the ADU is not subject to appeal. The conversion of the garage will abate the remaining enforcement case on the site, and this project is providing one replacement housing unit for the proposed hotel project at 302 West Montecito Street. So, I would like to pull up Google Maps to kind of give a little project site context. So the project site is located near the 101 freeway, south of Milpas. It is located on a corridor, main corridor. The existing site is developed with a single-family residential unit with the associated garage in the rear here. The surrounding uses are primarily commercial and an adjacent existing residential use right next door to the north. So I just wanted to give a little bit of site context to where this proposal is occurring. The project will locate two additional units in duplexes on the south side of the property and the proposed ADU on the rear. Six covered parking spaces will be proposed underneath the two proposed duplexes. And I think of note, this project went once before ABR and was previously designed with the duplex on the northerly property line. But due to the ABR had positive comments, but due to the location, there is a large wall situated near the tire shop, and so due to the livability, they suggested that they reconfigure the site and relocate the proposed duplex closer to that large wall and have a more livable site that has better circulation. So, I will move on to environmental review. The property, again, is within 100 feet of Highway 101. The proximity of the highway results in a potential air pollution hazard and elevated ambient noise levels for this project site. So a requirement for interior air filtration systems to mitigate air pollution hazards was required and has been proposed. The noise study was also submitted and found that typical construction with recommended assembly details would provide sufficient noise isolation for the interior and also outdoor living spaces. They met that, and then the project is also exempt from further environmental review under Section 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act. Moving on to policy consistency, this project, because it is in the coastal zone, will need to comply with all local coastal policies. So a couple of them that I've highlighted is Section 3020 250 location, existing developed area. This project site is located in an existing developed commercial area with adequate public services to serve the project site, and parking is provided on site per zoning requirement. The land use and compatible development section, the below policies related to land use and compatible development cover a wide variety of topics, and this is all found to be compatible with those policies as well, so it is consistent with coastal policies. And staff recommends approval of the coastal development permit, subject to the conditions of approval listed in the staff report. Thank you, and I will turn it over to the applicant.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Russell. And if I could ask the applicant to join us up here, and if you could introduce yourself and walk me through your project, just kind of the considerations, how this evolved.
Hello, my name is Lonnie Roy. I am the agent for the property owner. So first I would like to thank Will and other staff members for reviewing the project. I'd also like to thank ABR for their comments. I think their comments and the revisions that we made did substantially improve the project and make it substantially nicer. So as Will said, so the site's currently developed with this single family home at the street frontage and a garage structure at the rear. Because of where that single-family home is located, we felt that residential uses on this site are appropriate. Because if you tried to redevelop this in a commercial structure, you'd have to demo that. So to us, it made sense to keep that existing single-family home to retain residential units and then build more units behind it. And as Will mentioned, there is contextually residential adjacent to this site, so it isn't a completely foreign use in this commercial zone. And we think the neighborhood is a very walkable neighborhood. There's grocery stores, there's restaurants, there's obviously recreational opportunities, so we think residential is appropriate. So as Will had mentioned, so we're proposing a duplex over a 6-car carport. So we're providing all of the required parking for the existing single-family home, the duplex units, and a space for the accessory dwelling unit. I will just scroll quickly through. So this is existing elevation of the existing single-family home. Working with ABR, we are going to do some improvements to that, particularly on the porch element. Opening that up, there's this lattice structure that kind of covers it up, and we're improving the base of the structure, paint, patching, dry rot repair, all that stuff. And then ADU, as Will mentioned, it's a 2-story, 3-bedroom. It is being designed consistent with the architectural character of the existing single-family home. I will thumb quickly to the elevations on the duplex. Similarly, that is being designed consistent with the architectural character of the single-family home, particularly some of the board members. I would say the single-family home is pretty simple. There's a few details, like one of the windows on the first floor facing the street has a little bit more detailing on its frame, so that's being implemented on the ADU window. That's kind of at the terminus of the driveway. There's a box soffit detail on the rear of it, so that's kind of been integrated into both the ADU and the duplex. And we've created a few sites pretty tight, but we were able to create a few little outdoor spaces, common outdoor spaces here and here to improve the livability, which wasn't originally accomplished in the original design before ABR's comments. And we were able to increase the amount of landscape overall, and I think overall just make it a substantially more livable project. So that concludes my presentation. Here for any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roy. Now I'm going to open it up to public comment. So this is, I just want to say there's no public comment for the accessory dwelling unit. Just want to clarify that. I can only receive written correspondence, and I did not receive any, and I don't see anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at this time. This is only for other items, enforcement items, but not the accessory dwelling unit. Ms. Gu, do we have anyone who wishes to speak?
On checking Zoom, I do not see any raised hands for this particular item.
Then I'll close that. So let's see. So I did go out on site. There was a gate, I think, that I couldn't go all the way through, but you've got sufficient plans. And Mr. Russell, thank you for taking me through the Google Maps to kind of help me see some of the site. I guess one question that I have refers to, as part of the project description, of course, it mentions that this project is providing one replacement housing unit for the proposed hotel at 302 West Montecito Street under a separate planning application. Which one, for either one of you, which unit, can you tell me which one is that replacement unit?
It would be the 2-bedroom in the duplex structure.
The 2-bedroom in the duplex. And then, Mr. Russell, did we have that as a condition that it would be identified on the plans, or as part of the condition that it's kind of that designation is happening as part of under that prior PLN?
Thank you, Ms. Quickenda. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe we could add that as a condition.
Yeah, we can at least look at it as just identifying it on the plans to, again, refer back, given the project. So like I said, I went out on site. I completely agree with you that thank you for listening to the ABR and really taking their comments to heart. I think you have a really smart project here. You had to address an existing enforcement item. You had to find another unit to complete that hotel project requirement under the other PLN record. This is, I appreciate adding additional residential units on site and kind of redeveloping the site in total to, kind of for a better use. I mean, if you can just kind of looking at it, it's kind of a big parking lot in the middle and I think for all the reasons that you mentioned, Mr. Roy, that, again, kind of having a more open area, kind of having the circulation for the residents on site, continuing to keep it as a residential use, I think is a benefit. So yeah, I think you have a substantially improved project from where you started, and that the residential use is appropriate, and this is an extremely walkable location. Given it's a unique place for housing. I mean, there's a lot going on. But it's not the first time that I've seen housing proposed in different little pockets throughout the city. So again, I think you've kind of got this duplex and the ADU are kind of buffered by some of the happenings. And again, as part of the staff's environmental review, kind of ensuring that noise will be mitigated. So I can go ahead. I don't really have any specific questions. I think I'm just looking at the coastal development permit and the accessory dwelling unit. I think the heavy lift is really coming from ABR and the design. And so, again, I really appreciate I appreciate all the input that the ABRs had, and your responses to that have been really valiant. And so I can go ahead and approve the coastal development permit and just say that this project is consistent with the policies of the California Coastal Act, as written in the staff report, and that it's consistent with all of our local coastal plan policies and guidelines. And my approval with that does come with the conditions. Did you have any questions about any of the conditions? I do want to, just to kind of tie a bow on it, add an additional condition that identifies the specific unit that should suffice as the makeup residential unit for the 302 West Montecito project. So that is in order, and that might need to be part of the, I want to see, that might need to be part of the recorded conditions. But I will add that as a condition, but it's really just to kind of make sure that it's designated and that it's on the plans, and that, again, it's recognizing that tie. So we will work on that. And then otherwise, again, I can say that this project is further exempt from environmental review based on section 15303. So again, the accessory dwelling unit is a final decision and cannot be appealed. It's a final action of the city. But otherwise, that is my decision, and I'll just cut it off there. But thank you so much, and I wish you well on next steps and going back to ABR and cleaning up the site and getting through the enforcement, and I look forward to seeing residential development there. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. And that concludes our Staff Hearing Officer meeting for February 21st, 2024, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.